Hey there, great souls. Naomi Kamla here with another intuitive teaching. This is where I tap into my higher guidance and I tune into great love to provide an expanded perspective on this thing we call life. Okay, we're going to get started right away this week. I am going to just checking in to see. There were so many messages. I took last week off just to meditate and sit in silence and to kind of unplug from the media and to sit in a space, holding space for everything that's been going on, especially what has just happened recently last week in the headlines. So I'm just kind of coming back in and received so many beautiful perspectives and felt good about that choice just to focus on love and healing and understanding. With that, I'm going to share a story with you about a time when I was reading tarot for a huge event. There were probably maybe 6 readers at the event, and huge headliner musicians and just all kinds of amazing stuff going on. And when you have that many readers at an event, usually you have a line out the door and you have to go very quickly. You only have about 5 minutes to do a reading, which is a lot to really tap into really quickly into somebody's energy and then read the cards kind of together intuitively and through what they have pulled from their deck. And I had somebody come over to my table who said that they had, it was a lady. It was really, it was almost, the party was probably age range of, 20 to 32 maybe. And so she really surprised me when she's probably in her 60s, I think. And she said that she had been watching me from the line and really loved my energy. She just felt drawn to me. And so that's always nice to hear when that happens. And so I turned my timer on and started shuffling the cards and was explaining to her what the intention of how to set an intention, because that's the magical part of the tarot cards, is in how clear your intention is. So I was teaching her how to do that, and then I let her know that she could do a forecast or she could do a question. Well, she had a question, and I'm always really surprised at what people will ask me, because for years I was a life coach, and never did people go to the depths that they do and the vulnerability that they do through a 5-minute or 15-minute tarot card reading. It is amazing. But her question will stay with me for the rest of my life. She asked me, she said she had just gotten diagnosed with terminal cancer, and she had a very short period of time to live, and that there was no, and literally had just, like, within the last 24 hours, gotten diagnosed with this. And the fact that she was even out was shocking to me. But I think she got the phone call while she was in Colorado. And she named off what the cancer was, but I didn't know what that was, but I could tell that just energetically and intuitively that this was a very dire situation and very, very, very traumatic for her and for everyone that around her with this news. And she knew it was very silly. She said, "I know this is really silly that I'm asking you this question, at a 5-minute tarot card reading, but I just need to understand this further." So she set her intention to have a clear reading for her very highest good, something that would really serve her. And she laid out, the cards were laid out, and she pulled her 3 cards, and they were beautiful. Like, every high vibration card in the deck, all 3 of them were just, I was amazed, actually. And when she asked what she needed to know about this diagnosis, intuitively I heard that this was a holy moment for her. And that is not what I wanted to hear, because that's a really, somebody's in a serious situation here, and you're going to tell them that it's an opportunity for them to see the situation as holy. I mean, I'm sometimes shocked at what my work is and how it's delivered to me, and sometimes I have to not think at all. I can't be in my thinking mind. I have to be completely in spirit to share these kinds of messages, because otherwise, as a human being, like, that's just too intense for me. So I shared what I had heard with her, and she said, not angrily, but very confused of how could I possibly see this diagnosis, this terminal cancer, as a holy opportunity. And then I heard back, exactly, how do you see this situation as a holy opportunity? That is what your next chapter is what I told her. That's what you need to find out for yourself. And that will give you great peace. And we went over the cards a little bit more, and I spent as much time, I didn't care that the line got longer. I didn't care that all the other readers were having to pick up the extra slack. I was going to stay with her as long as she needed me to, and explain, continue to give her the reading and hear anything else for her. And when it came down to it, she started to tear up. And she said, this is exactly what I wanted to hear, and I couldn't hear it because I'm in such shock. And I told her she's probably going to go through a ton of different emotions, that this is going to be one heck of a ride. And she said, but this perspective that this could be holy and sacred, and that she was not wanting to get caught up in the sorrow of it all, although she's willing to experience that as well and will. She didn't want that to be how she lived out her last days of her life. And it always makes me a little teary, because it was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen, was someone have such a bleak outlook that was so permanent, and to hear the story about how she's going to miss her grandchildren, and not to get to see them grow up, and to retire with her husband and things like that. And she vowed, though, that night, that she would always hold that as her guiding light for the rest of the days that she had. And she thanked me, which had nothing to do with me. It had to do with her open heart and what I was hearing for her. I would have ran. I literally would have gotten up and left my table had I not been in the state of being able to not be in my rational thinking. And I'll remember that forever. And the reason that my guides wanted me to share this with you today is to, and especially now that we've got a little bit of time and a little bit of distance, and all of our lives are full of different, whether we've had trauma in our past, or life is so vulnerable and we can't control it, and anger won't protect us, and fear won't protect us, and hiding won't protect us. This life is meant to be lived and experienced, and it's got the entire range of everything in that. It is the most beautiful story ever told. It's everyone's life individually, and all of us collectively live something that it's a lottery to be able to experience this. And it's hard to remember that, especially when times get really hard and are devastating, and we feel lost or helpless or even hopeless. But if at all you would like to try on the perspective of taking a step back, quieting your mind, giving yourself a little space between the noise and the news and even the energy collective, because a lot of you out there are feeling more and more empathically. If you're not armoring up, you are, and armoring up means you're pushing it away and not wanting to deal with it. And that's going to take away from you living wholeheartedly, as Brene Brown would put it. So if you want to try this on and take a perspective and look at the things that are happening in your life and see if you can see the holy in it. Can you see the other side of it? Can you see where it's to wake you up versus paralyze you? It's to move you into the uncomfortable space that it might take you and then take you through that. Because if you can love all of it, and maybe not that day, and maybe it will take a while, but if you can see that something, or not even see, but just know, because it's hard to see it, that there's something more going on, something bigger, and we only get a tiny, tiny glimpse as to what this whole thing is about. And if you can try that, see if it works for you. If it doesn't, let it go. But if it works for you and you can see the holy perspective, and again, you gotta step away from anger, and you've got to step away. I mean, feel it, know what it is, find out the root of it. And if that anger is sparking action, then take action. Don't make a whole bunch of more noise. Take action and share the action that you're taking versus the constant drama. Because that drama really is an effect of the trauma. It's trying to escape it. It's not allowing what is. And to allow what is definitely feels like it's out of control and that you're not doing enough. But also thinking and discussing things isn't doing anything either. So if you are experiencing emotions of helplessness, then take action. Of fear, see what you can do to work yourself through that. Feel it. And when you're ready, and when it's in right time for you, and it's appropriate, try on holy. See if there's anything working out in that situation as a collective or in our individual lives. So I'll leave you with that. Thank you again so much for joining me here on my YouTube channel. I guess there's a way to subscribe if you're interested in getting videos. And yeah, keep your faith, and I will see you next week. Actually, I'm going to see you later on this week. On Friday, I am going to do a tarot card reading for like a weekend forecast for us all. See how that all turns out. So hope to see you back on Friday. And again, thank you. If you need anything, you can reach out to me at Naomi Kamla, NaomiKamla @gmail.com, and I will be of service to you as best I can. All right, brave ones. See you next week.